Hello all. In today's class, we are going to discuss about standard input and output with respect to C programming. Input means it's a process of passing the value from user to a program. Okay. I can pass the value from keyboard to a program. Okay, that is called input. This input can be passed as a file, or the value can be passed from command line also. Okay. So input means it's a process of giving the value from user to program. Okay. The device which is used to pass the value from user to a program is called input device. Okay. Example for the input device are mouse and keyboard. Other input devices is also there. So basically we are using keyboard to pass the values from user to program. The values can be stored in a file, and file can be passed as input, or value can be directly entered in the command line where program will read the value from the command line itself. Okay. Output means the program output. The program result is displaying to the user, or if I am giving the print, okay, from the computer, I'll get the printout in the printer. It's also example for the output. Okay. It's a process of giving the result from computer to user. It's a process of giving the values or giving the result from computer to user. It's called output. So the value from the program or result from the program will be given to the user. Generally, it will be displayed on the output screen like monitors, or the printer can give the printout. It's also example for the output. Okay. There are so many inbuilt function to read the value from the user, that is called input function. There are so many functions which is used to produce the output. I mean display the result in the output screen, that is called output functions. Okay. We'll see what are all the input functions and output functions. But before that, we'll discuss some standard files. Okay. As we know that input will be read from the keyboard and output will be displayed in the monitor. Okay. There are some files which is attached to the keyboard and monitor. Okay. There are some inbuilt file. It will be opened automatically when you try to access keyboard, I mean to pass the input, and when you try to pass the output from the program to output screen. Okay. These files are called standard files. Okay. Three types of file: standard input, standard output, standard error. Standard input which is attached to the keyboard. Whenever I type the value or press a key from the keyboard, that keyboard will be stored in between. I mean before passing to the program, it will be stored in the buffer. I mean intermediate file. That intermediate file is called standard input file. Okay. From the standard input file, the value passed from the keyboard will be given to the program. Okay. The next one is standard output file, which is attached to the monitor. Okay. When the program produces the result first buffered before passing to the output screen. Okay. That buffer is called standard output. Okay. This standard in, standard out, and standard error, it's actually a file pointer. std in, it's a file pointer pointing to the standard input file. std out is a file pointer pointing to the standard output file. Okay. There's also another pointer called standard error. Standard error, it is also attached to the monitor screen, I mean the output screen itself. The major difference between the standard output and standard error is standard output is a buffer to store the result of the program. Okay. If there's no problem with the program, it will store the output. Okay. If the program produces the error, then that error message, instead of storing it inside the standard output, it will store it inside the file called standard error, where that file contains only the error message, and the pointer for that file is stder. Okay, pointer means is just a variable which contains the address, where stdin is a variable which contains the address of standard input file, likewise standard output and standard error. Okay, so these standard files will automatically open when you try to access keyboard and monitor. For the keyboard, we have a file called standard input which is attached to it, and for the monitor, I mean output screen, we have two files, one is standard output and standard error. Okay. Now we'll see the two important function in today's class. One is getChar and putChar function. Okay, you can see the syntax. GetChar, it will take any kind of value. Void means it will take getChar and putChar. It is used to read and print single character. Void means any kind of character. Character, I said, it can be alphabets, numbers, or special symbol. Okay, and the return type of the getChar function is integer. While storing the getChar, whatever the character read by the getChar will be converted into integer. Okay, how that conversion happen? We'll see that in the next classes. For now, just understood, for every character there's a equivalent integer value. That value is called ASCII value. Okay, so whenever I pass the value for the getChar function, it is used to read the value from the user. It will be stored inside the variable. Okay, so before storing it, the value will be converted into integer. Okay, the next one is putChar function. The putChar function, it will take integer as, I mean getChar will read any character and convert it into integer. That converted integer will be passed as parameter to the putChar function. It is used to print the value. PutChar function, it is used to print the value. Okay, so it won't print the integer equivalent, but it will convert that integer value into actual character. It will convert that integer value into actual character. So getChar is an input function which is used to read the value from the keyboard. PutChar is a output function which is used to print the value to the output screen. Okay. This is the simple example. We have a main function. I declared one for a variable called int c, where c can contains only numerical values as we discussed earlier. Okay, but I'm using getChar function to read a character. As I told, getChar will read a single character and it will convert into integer value. That's why I'm using c as a integer variable. Okay, I declared c as a integer. Okay, so getChar will read a value. The value will be stored inside the c as a integer, as a numerical value. Then I'm using the same putChar function, putChar c. Whatever the value which is present in the C, that is integer value, will get converted into actual character and it will be printed. Okay. So in today's class we discussed about standard input, standard output and standard error. All these are pointers pointing to the standard input file, standard output file and standard error file respectively. getChar is an input function. It is used to read the single character, and putChar is the output function which is used to read the which is used to print the character to the output screen. Okay. Now we'll see the execution of this program, I mean output of this program. You can see the program here. I defined one variable named as A. Okay. I'm not going to explain these things, that is preprocessor directives and main function again, because which is already explained in the earlier classes. So I'm directly start with the executable part. I declared the variable called A. I'm just printing one message called enter a value in the output screen. You will see the output, and I'm calling the getChar function. Okay, the getChar function, it will wait until we press a key in the keyboard. Once we press the key, once we press any button, that button will be read as an input and it will get stored inside A as an integer value. The character will get converted into integer value. Okay. Next one, I'm printing another message, that is you entered. It will print the message as this you entered followed by the colon. Then I'm calling the putChar function. putChar function, it is used to print the content of A, where A contains numerical value, but it won't print the numerical value. It will convert that numerical value into actual character and it will print it in the output screen. Okay, we'll run the program and see the output. Okay, you can see it's printing enter a value. Okay, this is a message of first printf. Okay, enter a value. It's not going further. I need to press a key because it is executing getChar now. getChar means it will wait until I press a key from the keyboard. Okay, assume that I entered the key D. Okay, after D I need to press enter, then only the D will be read from the program. Okay, this is the output screen, or we can say this is the command prompt. Okay, where I'm passing the value to the getChar function. The value I'm passing is D. D will get stored inside the variable called A. Now I'll press I'll press enter. Okay. Then it is printing the message you entered. you entered followed by the output of putchar function. You entered colon followed by the D. Okay. You may have a doubt that why it is printing printf statement output as well as putchar in the same line. You can observe here printf function, I didn't included any new line character at the end of the printf. Okay. But you can see it in the first printf statement, enter a value. I included a new line, so it is coming to the next line before taking the input. But in the next printf statement, it's printing you entered, but I didn't include any slash n, so cursor will stay on the same line. Then immediately I'm calling the putchar function to print the content of A. The content of A is D, so it will print it in the same line. Okay, and this is followed by some compiler message. Okay, thank you.